Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial, we are going to take our flat vector artwork to the next level by adding shadows and highlights. If you followed along with my previous tutorial where we drew and colored this line art, you are all set to continue. If you missed it, you can click the link on the top right corner to watch that video first and then join us back here. I have also included a link to the Illustrator file in the description below so you can follow along step by step. Let's dive in and bring some depth and life to our vector art. So as you can see, this is the vector artwork we colored from the previous tutorial. It's just flat. There is no realism to it if you see it here. Leaving your vector artworks flat in Illustrator means that the design lacks depth and dimension, making it look two-dimensional and often less engaging or realistic. Here is why adding shadows and highlights is very important. Shadows and highlights give your artwork a sense of depth and make it look more three-dimensional. It helps to create a more lifelike and dynamic appearance, which can make your design more interesting and appealing. Flat designs can sometimes be boring or simplistic. By adding shadows and highlights, you can introduce variation in light and color, which makes the artwork more visually captivating. Shadows and highlights can be used to draw attention to specific parts of your design. For instance, a highlight can make a feature stand out, while a shadow can help define the edges and contours of objects. Adding these elements can make your artwork look more polished and professional. It shows that you have put effort into making your design detailed and well crafted. Shadows and highlights can also help set the mood or atmosphere of your artwork. For example, soft, diffused shadows can create a gentle, serene feeling, while sharp, intense shadows can give a more dramatic or striking effect. In summary, adding shadows and highlights transforms flat vector artwork into a more engaging, realistic, and professional-looking piece. So before we dive into the tutorial, let's go over the tools we're going to be using. We will start with the pencil tool to draw our shadow and highlight shapes. Then we will use the fill tool to add color to these shapes. Finally, we will utilize the eyedropper tool to quickly sample colors from our existing artwork to ensure consistency. We will also be shading each element in separate layers, like the facial shadows and highlights, the sweater, the hat, the teeth, the upper and lower lips. This approach helps us to keep our artwork organized and makes it easier to adjust individual elements as needed. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new layer for shading the shadows and highlights for the face, and we are going to lock this line art layer here. Let's just call this one base color, since it's already colored and it's no longer line art. And then we're going to create a new layer by clicking on create new layer icon below here. We can call this one facial shadows and highlights, and then now we are going to use the eyedropper tool to sample the skin tone that we have set here. I have put the color palettes here in case you want to copy the same exact shadow that I'm going to draw here. You can enter these numbers in your color picker here. Double click on the fill tool to open the color picker here, and then you can enter these color codes here in this box. Wherever you see letter S, that means that box is for the shadow and H is for the highlight. So we are going to start with this one, and we are going to use the pencil tool to draw with. So grab your eyedropper tool and sample this color, and when you click on this color with the eyedropper tool, you'll see the tip of the eyedropper tool turn into black. That means it has picked the color, and that color will be automatically on the fill tool here. When you double click on the fill tool like this, you will see in the color picker these exact codes you see here. They are the ones here in the box, so you can copy and also enter into your color picker the same way and click OK. So for us to draw them on the face, we need to be able to see the reference photo so we can see where the shadows are. I'm going to bring back the reference photo here and then turn off the base color layer. So if you look at this photo, guys, you can see a lot of shadows here. Under the ears you can see shadows here, below the chin here, under the neck, below the lips you can see the shadows here, and also here. They are all visible everywhere, guys. Grab your pencil tool and then let's start drawing where we see the shadows directly on the reference photo with our shadow color selected here. Let's start with this side of the eye. We can draw these shadows on top of these eyes like this. After drawing them, we can click on this color that we have selected here. If you want to see how your shadows look, you can bring back the base color layer like this and you can see how they look. This is really nice. You can turn it off again and continue drawing by using the reference photo to draw where you see the shadows directly. You will also draw below the eyes here, these shadows down here. Again, turn off the base color layer and let's continue drawing the shadows, guys. We have here below the nose. Let's draw still with the pencil tool. So basically all the shadows we are going to draw them with the pencil tool, guys. There is no other tool. You just use the eyedropper tool to sample the chosen skin tone shadow or highlight and then draw it with the pencil tool. We have some here. So basically, guys, it's just like you're copying what you're seeing. It's not really that hard to draw shadows. You're just copying from the photo wherever you see these darker shadows on this reference photo here. This is good. Let's continue drawing the shadows on the face, guys. Let's come under the chin here or the jawline, under the neck also. We draw with the pencil tool. You just trace how the shadow looks on the skin. Then you click on the chosen shadow color. Inside the ears we have some shadows also. We will also draw them. Let's bring back the base color layer and see. Now it's coming, guys. This is nice. Toggle it off and then we continue drawing the shadows that we see here. Under the lips we have some. Let's draw them like this. Choose our color. This is nice. And we are also going to draw the highlights on the same layer. The highlights color is this one beneath the shadow, which is this one with this color code. So we'll sample it with the eyedropper tool like this. Then grab our pencil tool. Also toggle off the base color layer and then turn on the reference photo so we can draw directly where we see the highlights on the face. And there are these ones here. If you look at this photo, these bright patches of light which are cast on this lady's face by the studio lights. We have some here. We have on this side of the face inside the ears we have also here. So we are going to draw all of them just to indicate the presence of highlights on the face. So let's start with this one. We just draw like we did for the shadows, guys. It's just the same process. Identify where you see the highlight and just draw it. Let's try to bring back the base color layer and we see how our highlights look on the face. They are really making this thing to pop, guys. This is good. We hide the base color layer again and we continue drawing. We will draw these ones on the nose tip. Let's draw the highlights on the ears. This one's here. Still with the pencil tool. Let's see how they look. This is nice. I think this is looking nice. So we're done with drawing the shadows and highlights for the face. We're going to move on to shading the hat that she's wearing. So we're going to lock the shadows and highlights for the face and we're going to create a new layer on top of these shadows and highlights for the face. So we are going to call this one the hat and click OK. The same process, guys. Grab your eyedropper tool and go to this color palette for the hat and click on the shadow, and that shadow automatically will be on the fill tool here. You can see the color codes in this color picker are the same ones we see here. Then pick your pencil tool and draw. Before you draw, toggle off the base color layer so you can remain with the reference photo and you can draw the shadows directly on the reference photo. So let's go. Let's bring back the base color layer so we can see how the shadows look on the hat. This is nice. Toggle it off and continue drawing. This is nice. We're also going to draw the highlights for the hat on the same layer. So come to the hat color palette here and sample the highlight color. Grab your pencil tool and then let's go to the hat and draw where we see the highlights. This one is good. Now we move to the lips. We are going to lock the layer for the heart, and then we are going to shade the upper and lower lips the same way we did with these ones. We are going to create a new layer below the facial shadows and highlights. We are going to call this one lips. So we are going to go to the upper lip and sample the color code here. So grab your pencil tool and turn off the base color layer. Also toggle on the reference photo and draw the shadows where you see them on the upper lips. This is nice. We're also going to shade the lower lips. We're going to sample the shadow for the lower lip, then grab our pencil tool, turn off the base color layer and bring back the reference photo so we can see the shadows on the lips directly. This is nice. We can also draw the highlight on the lower lip by sampling the highlight here. Grab our pencil tool and let's go to drawing. Turn off the base color layer. We draw directly on the reference photo. The highlights are here, these ones, and we're going to draw them. This is nice. We are also going to shade the teeth the same way we did with the upper lip and the lower lip. So we will also shade the highlights on the teeth to make them pop. They are here. You can see these patches of light here and here. Grab your pencil tool and draw them. You'll see later how they really pop and make this lady's teeth to shine. You see how the teeth are shiny? Very nice, guys. So now we can lock the lips and teeth layer, and we can create a new one on top of the base color layer here, and we'll call it sweater for shading the sweater shadows and highlights. So we come here to the sweater color palette and we sample the shadow here. Grab your pencil tool, then we can turn off the base color layer so we can draw directly on the sweater from the reference photo like this. This is nice. We're also going to draw the sweater highlights on the same layer. So we're going to sample this sweater highlight here, and we will see it inside the color picker. The same codes we see here, they are here. Click OK and grab your pencil tool and then turn off the base color layer so we can draw directly on the reference photo. This is nice. So now on the base color here, the eyes are not normally white like this. This part of the eye, there is normally something pink around here. So we're going to put that effect using the gradient tool. So we'll click here on the gradient tool. If you don't find gradient tool on this tool panel here, you can come to window and you'll find the gradient tool here. This is nice. We're also going to draw this hyper-realistic vector here. For this lady now it's just black. It is also flat like when we began shading this artwork. So we're going to create a new layer on top of all these other layers here. And we're going to call this one hair. Still with the gradient tool. We are going to make these sides of the gradient stops to be black, just like the hair here. So we'll click on this side of the gradient slider and click on the color picker. Then we pick the color on the hair. Then we make it black. We also click on the gradient slider on the right, like this, and then pick the black color on the hair. Then we'll need to put another gradient stop in the middle. Here, we will place it at 50%. Then now we can double click to change the color of this middle gradient stop. This one is good. Let's reduce the opacity to 50%. Let's make sure the stroke tool is turned on. And turn off the fill tool. So now let's grab our pencil tool and we try to draw one hair strand to see how it looks. This is really nice. The purpose of this middle gradient stop is to create that fade into the black color. You see how good it looks. So we're going to give this lady just plain black hair. Once you have drawn more hair strands, you can just try to duplicate them to make copies of them by clicking on this hair stroke and then hold down Alt and make a copy like this. You can do the same here. Hold down Alt and then drag to make copies. This is nice. That's it for today's tutorial. I hope you enjoyed learning how to add shadows and highlights to your vector artwork. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more tutorials. Don't forget to check out the Illustrator file in the description below if you need any reference. Feel free to leave any questions or comments below. I would love to hear your feedback. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.